Love that song.
I love that.
So good.
That in case you're playing along at home, that is the song is called Godspeed by a group called Starlight without the A, so it's Strlight.
Godspeed, man. Godspeed. That's a great song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We had that song before.
Yeah.
Partly.
Got
cut off, and I was like, oh, so into it, and then it was like, what happened? It went away.
Yeah, something happened with the render, and I fixed it last night after the stream. So.
It was awesome. Such a good song. Such a good intro.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Hola.
Hey. I have successfully passed 48 hours.
Liquid diet?
No food.
Oh, my goodness.
I've had about 6 protein shakes now in total.
I probably have had the least amount of food I've had in a long time in the last 48 hours, but not liquid.
Yeah. So I can tell you at about the 48-hour mark, you start getting hungry.
Oh, drink another shake, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I did. So
we got 2 more days to go. You're halfway there.
Halfway there.
Just depends on what you do at that point.
Here's hoping tomorrow there's not a Big Mac in my future.
Oh, or McRib or any of the other ones.
Oh, jeez. Anyway,
yeah, they're all nasty, Chris. You don't want them anyways.
they are so nasty.
So nasty. I was getting ready to try to get some popcorn too, but I'll wait. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead and get your popcorn.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to eat it in front of you.
I'm gonna wait.
Hey, I'll do it like this.
The parents have been eating just like normal. I walked through this morning, smelled bacon so good, like it was the best cooked bacon ever.
Bacon. They can't cook bacon when you're fasting.
And I just walked through and got my protein shake. And
did you look over and go, "How's that bacon taste?"
No, but they left the jelly sitting on the counter again, and I looked at that jelly and I was like,
"Is it liquid? If you put it in your mouth, it go." It is.
That's what I was wondering. If I go,
you can turn it into a liquid. It is a liquid.
But I didn't.
Good boy.
So, yeah. All right, I'm gonna welcome in the chat.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome in Stacy Rogers, Nicole Happy Haunt, Debbie Burnfeld, Martin Memphis, Kenneth H. Good evening. Welcome in. Chris S. Hello, hello. Let's see. Scrolling down. Fred O'Malley. Welcome in. Jan S. Disney. Hello, Jan. Scott Moore. We got Christine Hickman. Welcome in. Jeanette Sebastian the Crab. Hey, hey. Wendy B. Good evening, Wendy. Hello, hello. She loved the intro.
Loves me?
She loved the intro.
Oh.
She may love you too. I don't know. I'm just.
They all do.
They all do. Welcome in, Sparkly Pink Diamonds. Hello, hello. And there she is, my beautiful snickerdoodle. The Jasmine to my Aladdin, the Morgiana to my Dubin.
Wait, they're not together.
They are.
I thought they broke up.
No, they're together.
Oh, okay.
The beautiful Angela Minter. Hello, dear.
Hello, Angela.
Good to see you, sweetie.
You know what? I'm gonna start submitting a list for you to read each night.
Okay. I'll take suggestions. Welcome in, Robert Dixon. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. And I think we got everybody, buddy. We did it.
Yay.
Hello, hello.
See, she loves us both.
Yeah. Nicole said, "So many fingers in my face."
You're welcome.
Steve always tries to make the couples. Chris says,
I really thought the ones that he says, like I swear one of those that drops Spider-Man drops is MJ in one of the movies. I'm almost certain of it.
Gwen Stacy. Paul Engel, welcome in, Paul. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. So she was named after the cookie, Sparky the Pink Diamonds, because the Snickerdoodle is my favorite cookie. So moist, so tasty. I think Steve needs to rewatch Spider-Man.
Sounds like it. Whatever one. Andrew Garfield one. Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe it was Tobey Maguire. Or, yeah. I don't know.
Always Gwen. Gwen goes for the fall. Sorry, I have to drink liquids. It's all I do now. And I have to turn this heater off because this thing's been working in overdrive, I think.
Oh, it was a chilly day today. We had chilly for Florida. It rained all day with a misty, dreary kind of rain. I got in the house and, everything was cool off in here. And I mean, it's still 72 outside, but I've got a coat on because I'm cold. So
it is 50 here.
50
degrees.
Hello, Jeff.
Jeff Condon, welcome in.
So it's 22 degrees warmer here and I'm cold.
Yeah. Tomorrow's supposed to be pretty chilly too. I think our high tomorrow is only supposed to be 58.
58.
We got up to
60, like 84 here tomorrow, I think. So
that's your time and temperature on the ones. So
yep. Yep, on the ones.
On the ones. There's a coolness today.
That's only because Wendy B was there. She makes the state cool.
That's true. Robert Dixon says it's 44 here. When Stacy was the Amazing Spider-Man Garfield, and he didn't catch, he caught MJ in No Helm Spoiler.
And who did Tobey Maguire drop?
That was also Gwen Stacy.
Man, she just keeps dying.
She does, yeah.
Who's Gwen Stacy?
That's Captain Stacy's daughter.
Who's Captain Stacy?
That's her father.
Are you sure?
He's the captain of the NYPD, and yeah.
So she's nobody important.
Gwen Stacy is important, yes, because she's what really spurred Spider-Man to become Spider-Man, along with Uncle Ben and everything.
I'll have to go watch this again. I don't remember.
But in recent comic books, Gwen Stacy has come back
from the dead.
Because comic books.
Oh, they have the creative license to do whatever they want.
And now
she's rose her from the dead.
Yeah, she's Spider Gwen. So.
She's alive and a superhero?
Yes. She's really cool looking.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Mario Molly.
Molly.
Steve. Spider Gwen, Ghost Spider. True. That's what she goes by. There's also Gwenpool. That's in another verse where Gwen becomes Deadpool, so she's Gwenpool.
That sounds so stupid.
Yeah. Simba 2, welcome in. Howdy, howdy. All the comic book trivia. I've been rewatching Loki again.
I almost watched it today, but I want to finish my book instead. So I finished the first book of the villain series.
There you go.
It was good.
I want to go see the Marvels this weekend.
I didn't want to see it last weekend, and I almost did. But then it said, put on your 3D glasses. And I said, nope. But I stood up and walked away.
I think you did that intentionally.
You think I did what?
I think you did it intentionally.
What, signed up for the 3D one?
Yes, just so you could walk out.
No. If I wanted to walk out, I'll just walk out of a movie. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Snickerdoodle said it was so good.
Oh, you're the one that thought it was. What?
I've seen good reviews for it. I want to go see it. So.
I've heard, well, it's better than I thought it was going to be, which people had such a low opinion of it. Who knows?
I did not know this, Steve. I found this out today. The directors of Moon Knight also directed Loki season 2.
Really? Might be why it's good.
And they're being looked at to direct the Avengers Kane Dynasty movie because there's rumors that Marvel may be changing course.
Changing actors.
Yes, or story, something like that.
Oh, multiverse, popping alligator kangaroo Kang or whatever his name is. I don't know.
Jan S says the Marvels was good. I saw it last Friday. Nice. I want to see it. Well, we got movie night. We got movie night. We got book night tonight.
It has a 2.8 rating out of 5, a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 6.1 out of 10. It's not doing great. So, you know.
I don't believe the critics.
I generally don't either, but I think they're going to be right on this one.
I'll go see it myself. I did see Blue Beetle supposed to be coming to Max sometime soon.
Yeah, that didn't do very well either. Well. That actually looked kind of decent too. I wanted to see that one.
And I saw something else today. Since we're talking movies and comic book movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I think I knew this at one point, but I forgot. Jason Momoa was originally cast to be Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
And he did not want to do full body makeup, so he passed on it. And the role of Gamora was originally offered to Amanda Seyfried.
Why?
And she passed on it as well.
Thank
because
God.
she thought it was going to bomb.
Well, I know they did quite well and they're very popular. I don't care much for the Guardians, so. But I do like Batista as Drax, though.
Yeah.
He plays that part well.
He does.
Well, again, for what we know it to be. He's the only one that portrayed it, so that's what we've,
My friend is being an idiot.
Don't talk about Angela like that. She's in the chat.
I wasn't talking about Angela.
Oh.
No.
Don't talk about Nicole like that. She's in the chat.
All right, we got 2 chapters of the book to do tonight. I think there was some confusion, but I went back and looked yesterday when I made the thumbnail, and there's several pages in each of these. So I think we're doing two tonight. You need to play it again, Chris. Maybe he'll get it the second time.
There are 38 other people I can reference that to, so we can be here all night. So,
yes. So,
where were we at, Christopher? What happened?
Oh
yeah, Jafar's voice.
Yes,
that's right.
So they tried to hold up another. Well, they met. Let's backtrack even further. They were approached by a wealthy person that wanted to help them. So they were going around town, and Jasmine was kind of out in public, and they met up with someone that claimed to be a follower of Jafar or some such, pledged his allegiance or something.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. And they stabbed him a little bit,
yeah, and then scared him off. But they're starting to see how Jafar is getting sort of a grip on some of the.
And then he said in his evil Jafar voice,
"By sunrise tomorrow, this little family of street rats will be dead.
That's what he said.
No great loss."
Just like that.
Right. Hit the right button.
It sounded like a chipmunk, so it worked.
Oh, there we go. That's Jafar's evil voice. He put this Dubin's family in an hourglass of sand, and he's going to bury them alive unless the street rats turn themselves in.
Right. They tried to hold up another caravan, and it was a trap. And
but a trap had been laid for our heroes.
Carpet has been cut up and is now wrapped around each of the guards to make them fly.
Yep.
Razul is back, and he's still dead, but he's back.
I don't think it's cute, Molly. I do it ironically. Carry on. What?
Razul is back,
but he's not.
He's still dead, but he's back in the army of the dead.
Yeah, that.
Jafar announced that he's already got the book that they were trying to get from him.
Yeah, clearly he brought the dead back.
Yeah, he brought the dead back. So, Krista, welcome in, and Disnoa. Hello. Good to see you. So, yes, they were left, and I liked the last kind of sentence there.
Yep.
Because Jasmine realized that Jafar said he didn't call us traitors or revolutionaries or insurrectionists. He said, "Death is my friend in the war for Agrabah. He thinks it's a fair fight. He thinks we're at war as equals."
Well, if it's a war he wants,
we'll give him one.
We're going to give it to him.
So that brings us to sympathies and strategies, where we start tonight. So,
Carry on, sir.
yes, Stacy, I know. I read it, counted the books and chapters and pages again. 2 chapters tonight. So here we go. Sympathies and strategies. The four walked back through the streets of Agrabah in silence. Any initial enthusiasm they had felt from declaring war on Jafar ebbed away as the reality of the situation sank in. There wasn't a hint of the sorcerer's presence in the city as they went. He was silent now, his voice withdrawn back to the palace while he waited for them to make a decision. There was an anticlimactic about it. There was something anticlimactic about it. Agrabah itself was full of tense and strange energy. Although it was now fully evening and the peacekeeping patrols were active, people buzzed behind their closed doors, or sometimes opened them a crack to trade opinions with a neighbor across the way, also behind a cracked door. But no one could avoid noticing the corpses that were occasionally sprawled in the alleys, left there as warning. Morgiana was holding Dubin's hand, squeezing it and murmuring sympathetic and supportive words, but he didn't seem to notice. He just stared at the dirt or his own feet as he plodded along. When they were back in Aladdin's hideout, with the doors safely shut, Morgiana was the first one to speak. Kidnapping children, she said, dumbfounded. And old men. I mean, you're the most powerful sorcerer in the world. Just why? Magic is only as great as the mind controlling it, Jasmine said, quoting something she had read somewhere. She thought about the genie's story involving a previous master who had wanted a large flock of goats, a happy man who was mostly happy with the life he already had. Jafar is even sicker than I thought. Dubin silently collapsed onto the floor, covered his face with his hands. I'm so sorry, Aladdin said, kneeling down and putting his arm around his friend's shoulders. Dubin looked up and gave a weak smile of appreciation, but didn't meet Aladdin's gaze. We'll get them back, I promise. And I'm sorry for completely believing you, Jasmine. For not completely believing you, Jasmine, Morgiana added. I really thought the whole thing about the army of undead was just, I don't know, a little. You thought I exaggerated it to get you to help, Jasmine asked, not unkindly. Well, come on. It's like a story some grandmother would tell you, but those ghouls in the sky, Razul himself. The thief shuddered. We need to come up with a plan, a war strategy, Jasmine said, slamming one fist into another. We need to organize. Dubin finally spoke, his voice bitter. It's all very well to declare war on Jafar, but what can we actually do? We're thieves, Jasmine, not soldiers. We would need the greatest army Agrabah has ever seen to storm the palace and rescue my family. Aladdin grew worried at the desolate tone of his friend's voice. There was no light in Dubin's eyes, no hope at all. But that's what you and Morgiana gave me, Jasmine said. A street rat army. They don't have swords. If they did, they wouldn't know how to use them. Most are just kids. Morgiana stepped between the two, her back towards Dubin, but it was more like she was protecting than ignoring him. We do have an army, she said, but it's an army skilled in moving silently, picking locks, stealing things. We could probably lift every magic book out of the palace right under Jafar's nose, but I'm not sure that's going to help anymore. I don't know what anyone can do against that monster now, Dubin murmured. He is the very incarnation of powerful, limitless evil. We are going to save your family, Jasmine promised. We just need to figure out how. That's what we're going to do now, right now. We don't have a lot of time to figure that out, Morgiana said, looking nervously out the window as the sky was already deepening from the gray of early twilight to the dark blue of early night. Jasmine and Dubin also turned to glance out the window. Breaking off from their escalating fight, Dubin swore under his breath. Jasmine tried to look strong but couldn't hide the dismay in her eyes. Wait, Aladdin said suddenly, breaking the silence. You're both right, and we're both looking at it backwards. The three looked at him confused. He leapt up, the beginnings of a smile on his face. Jasmine, you said that magic is only as great as the mind that controls it. We've already seen that Jafar isn't thinking like a completely sane man. What with chasing you and taking the children as hostages. So we need to ask ourselves this. What is Jafar expecting us to do? Go to war against him, Morgiana said a little irritably. You heard him, Aladdin. We all did, and we're planning to, but we need more time. If we tried now, we could do it pretty terribly, as Dubin said, but proudly and energetically, he added quickly, before Jasmine could interrupt. Now, what are we actually good at? Stealing things, Morgiana snapped. Aladdin, are you an idiot? Haven't you been listening? What does so? Aladdin continued, putting a finger on her mouth to shut her up. We wage war on Jafar. Big, obvious, ugly war. While some of us steal Maruf and Shirin and Ahmed and the lamp and the book and anything else that seems useful right out from under his nose. Everyone was silent for a moment. Jasmine's eyes went from confused to clear as she thought about his plan. A smile began to form at the edges of her lips. Even Morgiana seemed impressed. That's not half bad, she said grudgingly. War is pretty spectacular divisionary tactic. There's no way he could ignore it. Add some carefully set fires. Maybe one in the palace itself, Dubin said, unable to help himself. Strategizing complicated heists was his specialty. To add to the confusion. Brilliant, Jasmine said, clapping her hands together. This could work. But what about Jafar himself, Bright Eyes? Morgiana demanded. We're going to come face to face with him at some point. I can't imagine he keeps that lamp or book out of reach, much less out of sight. What do we do to prepare for that? All of his physical magic, offensive magic, seems to take time and concentration, Aladdin said, thinking back to the square of the sailor. I'll bet in close combat he'll have a distinct disadvantage. You're betting your life on that? Morgiana said archly. And what about knowing things about us and our plans ahead of time? Can't sorcerers do that kind of thing? The future is a realm unavailable to him, Jasmine said uneasily. The only thing he managed to foresee anything if it involved complicated blood magic and the sacrifice of one dearest to him. Who is Jafar close to? Aladdin couldn't help asking. He didn't love anyone. Oh, only heavens. Oh, holy heavens. Sorry. Morgiana said, suddenly getting it. The parrot. His stupid parrot. That's why it's on all his coins and flags and everything. That was the one dearest to him. What a complete lunatic. Aladdin shuddered. Before Jasmine, Abu was certainly the one closest to him. He could almost sort of see it from Jafar's twisted perspective. Unlike Jafar, however, nothing in the world would induce him to kill Abu. Let's get back to the plan, he said quickly. So if it comes to battle directly with the sorcerer, it will be ugly, if we will try to avoid that. The plan is to distract him and his undead troops and those still loyal to him with a direct assault on the palace itself, while the best thieves, us three, Morgiana interrupted. 4, Jasmine corrected. 3, you're not a thief, Aladdin pointed out. We sneak in the back. Each of us will have a task. I'll grab the lamp. I'll grab the book. You'll free Maroof and the kids? Morgiana asked Dubin. His face was unreadable. I think we should switch, he said slowly. I'll take the book. You free my family. Why? Morgiana asked, confused. Don't you want to be the one who saves them? I won't be thinking clearly, Dubin said. He clenched and unclenched his fist nervously. It's bad tactics. I'd be a liability to the team, putting my family before the rest of our objectives. Besides, I trust you. Morgiana gave a funny smile. It was a surprise and sweetness, and perhaps the revelation of something deeper. Dubin gave her not quite a smile back, but his face brightened a little. All right, this sounds like it's the beginnings of a strategy, Jasmine said. But even though I'm not a thief, I could be useful in distracting Jafar or something. Jasmine said, putting his hands on her shoulders, am I trying to keep you out of harm's way because I care about you? Absolutely. But your task is also just as important as ours. You're the face of the revolt. People, your leaders, your army, your people need to see you. Need to know that you are the one telling them what to do. You need to stay here and organize the assault on the palace. Who else is going to do it? Jasmine didn't say anything. Her hands fluttered for just a moment. You're right. This is my first job as Sultana. I'm worried about you guys. And I've lived in the palace and dealt with Jafar. I want to be there and make sure everyone's all right. I just feel like I could have a greater role. Morgiana smiled and looked like she was almost going to touch Jasmine, squeeze her shoulder or something. You'll be fine, Jasmine. We have to be. We'll be fine. She might have said other things, but Aladdin had noticed that once again a shadow had fallen over Dubin's face. He'd gone over to the broken terrace and was looking out at the sky in the palace. We will rescue them, Aladdin said quietly, coming up behind his friend. Sure, Aladdin, Dubin said. He didn't say it sarcastically or patronizingly, yet there was something not entirely honest about his tone. Dubin? The thief shook his head. I thought Shirin and Ahmed would be safe once their father was gone. I thought they would be safe if hungry with my dad. I thought they would be safer still surrounded by thieves and tigers, Aladdin. Dubin said, suddenly turned to look at his friend, his eyes wide and searching. We need to end this. This insanity that has taken over Agrabah. We need it to end it now, by any means. Yes, Dubin, I agree, Aladdin said slowly. There was something off about the unusual, most level-headed of the street rats. That's what we're going to do. Rescue your family and defeat Jafar. Morgiana and Jasmine had finished their discussion and were quietly waiting for Aladdin and Dubin. Jasmine raised an eyebrow at Aladdin. Aladdin shrugged. What could be said? The boy's father, niece, and nephew were being held captive by a madman sworn to kill them. Aloud, Jasmine said, all right, let's go over the plan one more time among ourselves. Morgiana's had a couple of brilliant ideas we should discuss. Then we'll summon the various faction leaders we can count on and have a war council quickly. But not here, Morgiana said, and not at our old HQ. The bread warehouse, Aladdin suggested. The baguette warehouse, he added, tossing a hopeful grin at Dubin. But his friend did not return it, only looked out over the city and put his hand on his dagger.
Interesting. The plan. Outside a dusty old bread warehouse, defying curfew, citizens from all walks of life waited for orders. They milled around anxiously, keeping an eye out for the peacekeeping patrols. They spoke in low voices, polished their knives, and readied their torches. Inside the warehouse, Dubin, Morgiana, Jasmine, and Aladdin stood on one side of a giant, crooked table, where dim lanterns barely illuminated the hastily drawn map of Agrabah. On the other side of the table were the de facto captains of the street rat army. Some of their faces were old and well known, but many were new. Many were not even originally street rats. Representing the jewelers and other high-end guilds was Amr. They supplied and the resistance with beautiful but deadly weapons like gem-encrusted daggers. Representing the disaffected guards, soldiers, and ex-military was the general Sohrab. Speaking for the different religious colleges was Khosrow, who brought wisdom, extraordinary intelligence, and 100 acolytes, furious that their studies had been suspended. Representing the Alchemaics was the scarred and one-eyed Kimia, who, despite her frightening appearance, greeted everyone with a friendly, lopsided smile. She brought incendiaries. A surprising number of people came representing no one but themselves, angry young men and women upset with what Jafar had done to their city. They brought whatever they had: weapons, food, fists. It was the most diverse crowd Aladdin had ever seen outside of a holiday market day. The basic plan is quite simple, Jasmine said. Aladdin and a couple of hand-picked thieves will sneak into the palace, not from the back, as Jafar might expect, but from the side here, where it's easiest to get into the princess courtyard. She indicated the place with a tap of a stick. It would make sense for Jafar to keep the genie's lamp, as well as the genie and the other prisoners, in his secret dungeon here. She indicated the place Aladdin had escaped from with another tap. No doubt that place is now locked up and trapped like a devil's own treasure room. We don't think the lamp is here anyway. The sand image in the sky yesterday had a few unintentional details in it, like the tail end of a tapestry that I know for a fact hangs in the throne room, which makes sense. Jafar probably wants to keep Genie, the lamp, and Maruf and the children very close to him. And Jafar likes keeping very close to the throne room. It's important to him that he seem like a sultan, and he sits on the throne whenever he can. They free Maruf and the children, grab the book, grab the lamp, and free the genie. We then overthrow Jafar by wishing all of his powers away. So that's it, a teenage thief said sarcastically. You're just going to march up to the palace through a city filled with ghouls, sneak into the most heavily guarded room, and steal something out from under the nose of the sorcerer. That is the basic plan, Jasmine said patiently. You're going to help us with the other part. Given what we said yesterday, Jafar will be expecting us to do something warlike, probably a direct frontal assault on the palace itself. So we will give him that, using the siege to distract him while the thieves get done what they need to. There were nods and murmurs of agreement at the cleverness of the plan. Excuse me. But the sorcerer is so powerful. He can summon bread and gold from the sky, Hazan, the little street rat, piped up worriedly. Nope, Aladdin countered with a grin. Only the genie can do that. If any of you were at any of the parades or feasts, you'll have noticed that the genie was always there, waving his hands behind Jafar, while Jafar took credit for it. And the big question is, where has the genie been for the last few days? Tortured, Jasmine answered bleakly. Imprisoned, locked up, out of service, because he was helping us. So expect for Jafar's last wish, I think we can count him out. Except for Jafar's last wish, I think we can count him out. Aladdin saw the doubtful expressions on everyone in the crowd. Look, I'll give you this. In a direct fight in person, Jafar is a powerful enemy, but that's my worry. Outside of that, he is no more powerful than any other sultan. He's also no smarter or wiser since obtaining his nefarious new powers, Amr pointed out. He still thinks like old Jafar, and the old Jafar knew nothing about tactics or military maneuvers. Keep that in mind. And speaking of fighting, Jasmine said, Dubin, the stocky thief came forward. Any overwhelming worry he had for his kidnapped family seemed to be set aside while he explained logistics. As far as we can make out, there are about 500 branded ones and undead troops. Many of the merely enlisted have deserted over the last few days. Those that remain are arranged in either Peacekeeper Patrol phalanxes of 6 or the usual cohort of 10. It can be assumed that at least 100 of them will stay inside the palace walls for defense. So that leaves about 40 to 50 individual groups to keep busy and keep Jafar's attention on while Aladdin and I and Morgiana sneak in. And what about the ghouls? Someone else asked. How are we to fight those already dead? You could start by remaining alive, so Robin said mildly. that's such a never mind. You can start by remaining alive, so Rob said mildly. Keep from adding your corpses to Jafar's numbers. This was greeted by a worried silence. Remember, this is war, but it's also a distraction, Jasmine quickly pointed out. To defeat the sorcerer, we need to steal his book and lamp, not actually kill everyone in his command. Do not put yourself unnecessarily in harm's way. As for dealing with the ghouls you encountered, Khosrow said, a sad look in his ancient brown eyes, the magic animating them is not as strong as you think. The body, as is natural, wants to remain dead. Sever the mind from the soul, the psyche from the heart, and they can rest, as God intended it. Cut their heads off, so Rob translated, or slice through the spinal cord at their necks. That should do them. I am dividing you all into smaller troops and assigning quadrants on the city and jobs as appropriate, Dubin continued. After that, Sohrab will take over entirely while I help the others. Artemis here will be in charge of distributing weapons. How many of us are there at last count? Jasmine asked. About 300, he admitted. That will not be enough, Sohrab said grimly. We are going to need more men. Why are we only talking about men? The woman who said this was short and round and covered in robes. She pushed her way to the front. Aladdin was surprised to see the widow Golbahar shouldering the various faction leaders aside. I have all the mothers, grannies, widows, and spinster aunts of Agrabah behind me. You want to take us on? Or you want to take us on? What can women do? A man next to her asked disparagingly. In answer, Golbahar whipped out a wooden ladle and clocked him on the side of the head. He yelped in pain and fell backward. You want more of that? I've been laundering rugs for 50 years, and I got the arms to prove it. But what can you do against ghouls, old mother? Amur asked, but not unkindly. I'll show you, she answered, tightening her lips. Bring him forward. Several older women shuffled around in their voluminous robes, manipulating something unseen, and soon the widow had a little boy by the shoulders. He was no more than 9. At first he looked normal, if a little subdued and sickly. Then Aladdin noticed the red glow around his eyes and the green tinge to his white flesh. My God, Jasmine said, putting her hand to her mouth. He is a ghoul. The crowd gasped when the widow turned the boy's head to the side so the flickering lights caught his sad, monstrous face. The poor lad, Aladdin murmured. Golbahar did all but spit. He was killed when some of the soldiers were tearing apart the eastern marketplace looking for traitors. Any person who dies becomes a ghoul, Khosrow said sadly. You are the Princess Jasmine, the boy said, his dead eyes widening. I must take you to Jafar. I must kill the street rats. He slowly lifted his arms to attack. Cut it out, Jalil, Golbahar said promptly and sternly. She whacked his behind. The boy winced a little and drew his arms back. How many times have I told you no fighting? Sorry, the boy said tonelessly. He listened to you, Jasmine said slowly. He knows who you are. They remember? The widow nodded. They all remember, a little. But how does that help us? Asked the man whose head had been struck. There was a sizable lump forming on it. Every one of them out there is some mother's son, Golbahar hissed. A mother can bring her boy home. And failing that, she will fight like a tiger against anyone who tries to stop her. Aladdin had thought that losing his parents was the worst thing that could have happened to a person. He never thought about the reverse when parents outlive their children. And then to have their children come back, but not the same, never the same. There is no more powerful force on earth than a mother frightened for her children, Khosrow murmured. Great, that's at least a couple hundred more, Sohrab said, reducing the drama to numbers. He had more soldiers to work with now and did not care about their gender or motivation. He nodded to Dubin. I'll talk to the women after to work out the details. We will need a holding pen, Golbahar said delicately. The harmless undead need to be kept from returning to Jafar. Sohrab looked doubtful but didn't disagree. We'll see what we can do. All right, back to the battle plans, Dubin said. Raja can take on a cohort or two of his own. We're having Naveed, the goat herd, gather those who are loyal to us and blockade the western market area. What about the flying horrors? Someone asked. We have archers, some of the best, thanks to Sanjar and his hunters, and some of the defected guards from the palace Sohrab has brought along. They will be positioned here, here, and here, and here. Excuse me. He pointed out certain broad rooftops in the middle-class part of town. And we have some things cooked up for them as well, Kimmy said gleefully. A couple of hits from our shrapnel-loaded firebombs should take them apart. This is in addition to the incendiaries and bombs that we will set off at different times in the seemingly random places, as well as very close to the palace walls to increase confusion. And speaking of fire, Jasmine said, pointing at the map again, we will be lighting one on top of Jafar's own moon tower here in the palace to further distract from Aladdin's heist. I suspect Jafar will be smart and use some of his aerial forces to contain it. And how will you know when to do this? When, who should attack whom? When to let loose Raja or the grannies? A tall young woman demanded, the leader of one of the student groups. That is a good question, which we are getting to, Morgiana answered, stepping forward with relish. Besides shooting down the flying ghouls, the archers will act as our messengers. Once Dubin and I have divided you up into your separate teams, we will teach you the appropriate signal. How many arrows of fire means what? Any other questions? Jasmine asked. There was a shuffling of feet and a little ease. Any comments? She asked, a little more gently. Anything at all. If you have something to say, we want to hear it now. Amur looked around, and then cleared his throat. Down with Jafar, he said in a voice unaccustomed to shouting. Down with Jafar, the crowd repeated much more loudly. This might actually work, Aladdin said with a hopeful grin. Jasmine put a finger on his lips. Don't jinx it. Ooh. That's that. Interesting. What say you? You say nothing.
Well, we've got a plan.
We have a plan. Is it going to work, though? Is it going to work?
I don't know. I have a bad feeling.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I also have a bad feeling about them realizing where Iago could be.
They thought he was dead. They thought he was sacrificed by Jafar.
Right.
But he can rise from the dead.
Yeah.
And apparently become giant Iago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember how you see the... Oh, there it is. Okay. So... Sorry, I'm just reading.
It's all right. Yep, Stacy. Now we know what happened to Iago. Yeah. Y'all are talking about bread in the chat, and you're killing me.
Okay. So the next 4 chapters are smaller than the ones we read tonight, pretty much, but decent size. So you'd have about 35 to 40 pages to read a piece if we read 2 chapters each.
Okay.
If we read 1 chapter each, we'd have about half of that, roughly 13 to 15 pages. So however you want to do it. It says like tonight it said that we were sitting at like 16, 15 minutes for the chapter. Mm-hmm. Next week is 13. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Dang it. Where did I? Okay, so that is okay. So your next one, say like your next one says 8 minutes. That's your first chapter. 8, and then your second one would be 13. So we'd be looking about 20 to 25 minutes a piece next week if we read 2. If we read 1, it's going to be 8 and 13.
Okay.
So you make that call. We have I can't find this. I can't remember how I found the chapter list, but if we read 4 chapters next week, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4.
That would leave us with 3.
That would leave us with 3, which is you'd have that one, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Good Lord. Yeah, but that first one's 57 pages.
Mm.
Um,
I think the last two are pretty short. The end
Yeah.
and the epilogue. Triple A Sparkles. Hello, Sparks.
yeah, so the last two combined are only like 25, and the third chapter is 50 something pages.
Yeah.
So however you want to do it. Your call, brother.
I think we do. What you think? Do the 4 next week, and then
we'll figure out the last part of it because that's a lot of pages.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm okay doing 4 next week. They're shorter.
Welcome. As I said, welcome in, Sparks, and congratulations, Sparks.
Hello. Welcome.
So I told Steve the other week after we ended the stream, I was half tempted to finish the book, but I didn't want to ruin my response to it, reaction to it while we're reading it here.
Did you read it?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
So it's getting good though. I can see how some of you have skipped ahead and read through it because yeah,
We got 16 more I want to read. So I started reading The Beast Within, which is the second series in the second book in the villain series.
and those are the ones that have the villain's face as half of the cover.
Yeah. Has half the face, tells their backstory and kind of how from their point of view during the story that we know. They're really good. The first one was really good, and it was fairest of them all. So like to me, the Evil Queen, I know she's very popular and she's one of the big baddies, but it's not one of my favorites by any means. Like the Beast, Mother Gothel, Hades, I want to see all those. But that one was really good, the fairest of them all. It's a great twist on the story and how this becomes this and how we got to that point and how it all circles back and who's who actually. And it's really good.
It's not as much a twist the way you described it. It's more like an extension of the story, isn't it?
But there's a lot of twists in it.
Oh, is there a twist? Okay.
Yeah. Not necessarily twists, like it doesn't change, like not like the twist like we're reading now.
Right.
But full circle moments of, oh, that is actually that because of this. So they take some liberties with the thing. So like, for instance, just this without giving anything away. And in the beginning when Snow White sees the prince and she runs when he's singing. So in the book, that has been going on for a while. And when you first come into the story, so you tell the backstory, then we get to what we know as the cartoon at that scene. And they play it off as she already forbid them to see each other. And she was watching at the window. And when he came over and started singing to her, she knew she was watching. So she took off running. So that's how it kind of ties into that part. So it's really weird how they do some things. So, and it's really cool how they play right into the story and explain some stuff. Yes.
Google's infuriating me with their updates to Chrome.
You're doing what?
Google is driving me batty with their updates to Chrome. Wendy asked, "Are there any male writers in the series?" Seriously asking.
Yes.
Are there?
You talking about in the one we're reading? Yes, there are. Jonathan, what's his last name? Hang on a second. Begins with like an L or a K. I think maybe a D. I have to search their names when I go find the books at the bookstore. That's the reason why I know.
All the ones I'm seeing are females writers of this series.
I thought there was one called John. Let me see. Hang on a second. Disney. Oops.
Oh, thank you. My Christmas Mickey. Yeah. I got a Christmas tree back here too, but
Oh, you know what? They're only showing 3 on here, but there's more than 3. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I've pulled them all up here.
There's what I'm looking for right there. Elizabeth, Stephanie, Farah, Liz. It might have been Jen instead of John. From here, I thought maybe this was said John because the E looks like the O because it's written in a really little print right there underneath the
really tiny print.
So I thought it said maybe John. Maybe it does say Jen.
This is I'm going to drop this link in the chat just in case anyone's interested. This is the Disney Wiki page that has all the titles for the books in the order they were released. It tells you what movie it was based off of, the what if scenario, and then just a brief little blurb about each book. And they're listed.
Okay. You see somewhere quick.
Raga. Hey, buddy.
So here's all the names of the people that did the anthology. There's more on there. Nicole and MK England. I don't know if they're males or not. Livia Blackburn. I'm saying that's a female, I'm guessing. Elizabeth Lim, Liz Braswell, Farah Rocone. Those are and Jen Calanita are the main ones, the 4. And Elizabeth Lim edited the Twisted Tales anthology. Interesting. Maybe they are all females. The other series that I'm reading, the villain series, all 10 of them are by Stephanie. What's her name? Stephanie something another.
Ooh, Steve.
What?
So this says that there's in this series, there's 5 more set to be released between this year and 2025.
Yep.
There's also been a graphic novel released for this series and one other one on its way. I would be interested.
I don't know about the graphic novel.
I'd like to see.
I knew about the other ones coming. They're my favorite books right now. The Twisted Tales series is. They're so well. This one is. I can't say that. The one we've read has been incredible.
Yeah.
It's very dark, very twisted. It'll be interesting to see how they end it, though.
So the graphic novel is part of your world. It's based on the book of the same name in the series. It's just.
I would say because there is a book with that name already.
Yeah, it's just a graphic novel version of that. It came out June of this year. Interesting. So yeah.
Phone went off, but nothing happened.
Mindy says it's very dark, which makes it intriguing. I think this one has been. Yeah, this one's been much darker than I expected when we started reading it.
It's keeping my attention. That's what I like about it. Because you fall in love with these characters. I like that because we know the stories. You fall in love with the characters and how precious like Magic Carpet is and this, that, and the other. And then when they get killed and they in the demeaning ways they do it, and like he twists the dude's head around till it pops and snaps and blood. I mean, it's like I was shock and awe from the minute he shoved the Sultan over the balcony. I was like, okay, he's not dead. You know what I mean? The Sultan can't be dead. And then we find out he is dead. And I'm like, what just happened?
I honestly did not expect anybody to die in these books. I figured story Disney formula of
Yeah.
trouble and then a happily ever after, but this has been very intense.
And there's nothing that says any of these main characters aren't going to be okay through it all either. Or some of the new main characters like Morgiana and Dubin that we know. I have a feeling Dubin's going to sacrifice himself for his family, but who knows? You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that you got your classic characters that you love that some of them die. Carpet, Razul, he wasn't necessarily one of your favorites, but the Sultan. And then you have the newer characters that you're falling in love with, trying to relate to. Dubin's family being taken from him and things like that. And it's just crazy. There's part of me that wants some of these stories not to end well.
Yeah.
Like I want them to end well, but not to have the happy outcome that we have. So that way, every time we're reading one, we don't know what's going to happen.
Don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Yeah. It would be interesting to see a villain win in one of these.
In the way that they're portraying like Jafar, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if half of them do that and half of them don't, and you never know which ending you're going to get? That's how you keep people on their toes and keep,
Yeah. That would be good. So I'm anxious to get to read the rest of this. I'm glad we picked this series.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Which I think we both are big fans of the What If series. Mm-hmm. Not the animation version, but like just reading comics.
The comic book.
The What If series. Yeah. And they've done this exceptionally well. At least this first one has.
Yeah.
So bravo. I liked it so much. I had all 7 or 16 books in my hand the other day, and the 10 from the villain series that I'm reading at the bookstore debating, and I decided to get the Kindle instead of the books. Number one, I'll save money in the long run. But number two, I was worried that as I was reading the books, then the books would crumble or get worn, and that I want them. I would love to have them on a shelf, but right now I just want to read them. And this thing is amazing.
Jeanette asked, "Do we pick our second book yet?"
All
Jeanette,
in order.
I think we're going in order with this series. So the next one will be Once Upon a Dream.
Yep, Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. And what I was about to say is the next 2 books are by the same author, Liz Braswell.
Liz Braswell, yeah. So the second one is Once Upon a Dream.
What if Sleeping Beauty never woke up?
Yeah, what if Sleeping Beauty never woke up? It's kind of this one's weird because I got the different cover version for when you buy it. So, yeah, but there it is.
This one's got Maleficent on the cover with the castle in the background.
What is it?
It's got Maleficent on the cover.
It's not the one I have. I thought you had this same thing I've got right there. That one.
Yeah, I do. On the Disney Wiki page, it shows.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So, this is the cover that.
So I already own that book because we got to pay for it. I bought the Aladdin one too because it was only $2. So yeah, that one. That's the one I saw too, and that's in the stores, but that is not the version we have on here. So I'm hoping it's the exact same version.
Yeah.
But I went ahead and bought the Aladdin one, so I always have it. The Whole New World, because it was only like $2. The next one's I think $7 on here on the Kindles. That one we can't, it's free. So the thing about Kindle, if you get them, guys, that they have some they're called borrowing books. It's like a library. And this Jafar one is one of the ones that was available for that's why we started reading it, because it was free. And then it just wanted to, and I've seen these books in the bookstore for like months now down there, and I have come so close to buying it for my niece, come so close just to buying it. But then when they always put them in the young adult section, I go, I don't want to read that. I'm glad we actually started reading it though, because they are really cool.
Jeanette says Sleeping Beauty is only in her own movie for 18 minutes. If she never wakes up, she's going to be in like 2 chapters. Um, Sparkly Pink said the Villain series in hardcover are pretty books to display.
Very much so, yes.
I like that profile picture of the.
So Debbie, I got one that you don't need. I got the Signature series, which is it was a little more expensive. I had a few things on it that I thought I wanted, but you don't need. All you need is an 8 gig Kindle Paperwhite. It's basically like you can set the whiteness of your paper. It's basically like you're reading off a piece of paper. It really does a great job, but it's a Kindle Paperwhite, and you just need the 8 gig one. But just make sure you get the one that says without lock screen ads. It's an extra $20. But so when your screen gets locked, if you click on it to unlock it, you're gonna have an ad there, and that annoys the crap out of me. So
you don't need a lot of storage because all of these are on.
Yeah.
You're reading them online. Now, if you're doing a lot of traveling and you want to download them,
yep,
then you would need the storage. But otherwise, you don't need that.
So you create an account. It's an Amazon Prime account, and it's your Kindle account, and it stores all the books you want to that account. But if you want to read it offline or whatever, you just download them to the thing, which I've downloaded these. The one I got was like 32 gig, but you don't need it. You don't need any of that stuff. It's not necessary. And the other thing mine does is mine self-adjusts for light because I thought I'd want that. I turned that off because I didn't like it. So there's no reason that you need, and it has a corded charger, but it has wireless charging capabilities too. But you got to buy the wireless charger separate. So don't waste your money on the bigger one, the Signature one. Just get the 8 gig Kindle Paperwhite. That's all you need. And they'll be on sale here. They'll be on sale at Black Friday too. So
yeah, I've got a couple of Fire tablets as well. I got those without ads. I highly recommend paying that little bit of extra and get it without ads.
Oh yeah, it's $20. $20 for no ads. Just make sure it's set. And sometimes they start you got to pay attention to the Kindle because when you get it, it'll say without lock screen ads. Some of them don't say that though, and that means you got to select the option to get with it. So make sure somewhere on the page it says without lock screen ads.
So, oh man, well,
What else?
I don't know.
You know how you want me to watch Loki so we can talk about it. I need you to read Fairest of Them All so I can talk to you about it.
Okay. Corby Sinclair. Hey, Corby. Good to see you. You know what? Actually, what actual books don't have ads?
Oh, they also neither does my Kindle.
Can we read the book George and the Dragon? Never heard of it, Raga.
I mean, either. I'm sitting back in my chair, Corby.
Yeah.
I got my big stick to get closer if I need to.
There you go, Debbie. That's good. Good. She says she's treating herself with a Kindle either for Hanukkah or for her birthday.
Nice.
I would the Black Friday, wait for Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yes.
They always run those devices on sale on Amazon. And
yeah, they were on sale just a few weeks ago in October for like
Prime
30 or $40 off. So the 8 gig is going to cost you about $159.99 for the one without ads. So for $160, you're going to get the Kindle Paperwhite. That'll go down to about 100 to 130 at Black Friday.
Yeah.
So you'll save 30 to $50 on it probably.
Robert Dixon says $159.
Yep.
Right now on Amazon.
Yep, that's what they are. $159 for the 8 gig. If you want to spend another $10, you can get the 16 gig for $169.99. But again, it's $10 you don't need to spend.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you want it, get it, but it's not necessary. The thing I like about it the most, though, too, is you create this library and you have it, so if anything ever happens to your Kindle, you have all your books still. you don't lose any of them because they're always there for you, and there are thousands, and it's so easy. You just go like this and go, let me find the book. Oh, I'll read that one. And there's so many free books using
I
the
was about
Kindle.
to say there's so and there's a wide range of books.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's fiction, nonfiction. I mean, everything's on there from
everything.
this Disney stuff to even graphic novels. I've read DC graphic novels through mine.
Kids
that are
books
free.
are on here too.
Yep.
Christmas books, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You can get all that stuff on here. But some of them are free. Some of them are yours to borrow, which means it's like a library you can have, but you don't get them unless you want them. But they're all also half the price of real books.
Yep.
So you're not going to rip the pages. You're not going to ruin the spine of the book. Save your money. In the long run, you're going to pay for your Kindle itself, and you have an infinite amount of library at your fingertips. A lot of those that you don't have to pay for.
Yep. And your books are all in one place. And that
Yes.
is about.
Yes. So when you rent a room instead of a house, and you want to put your book on the bookshelves, you just take this little thin thing like this and goes, there it is. Thanks.
There's my books. Thanks.
Yep. There's my book. So.
Today
this will be my bookshelf, and tomorrow this will be my bookshelf, and
that's one of my problems, though, Steve. I have a couple of books that I loved reading, and I'd love to go back and read them, and I can't find the actual books anymore. So
so you lose the books too.
Yeah.
So I like real books. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Kindle's better. And the other thing too is, with my Kindle, like I can lay in bed and open the Kindle up and put it on the stand and just let it sit there. And to flip the pages, I go like that. You don't have to hold the book in your hand. It's not going to hurt my fingers. A hand holding it, trying to hold up the pages so you can read everything. You don't need a flashlight in the middle of the night to read. You can read this it's waterproof. You can take it in the bathtub. You take it to the beach. You can take it out in the sun. You can take it. You can read it in the dark of night in bed. It's just got a lot of stuff. My mom's.
Corby said the battery lasts forever. I asked Steve about that the other day.
I got a phone call. Hang on.
Yep. I asked Steve about the battery the other day. I think he'd gone like 4 days and his battery dropped just about 10 or 15%. He'll tell us in a minute. But the next book, Corby, I saw you said you missed what the next book is. The next book we'll do is Once Upon a Dream. It's the next one in the same series. Based on Sleeping Beauty.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. The battery is amazed Snickerdoodle as well. You said yours had only dropped just a little bit in several.
So it had only dropped from. It started at 51%, and I fall asleep reading it sometimes, so it stays on a little bit longer and all that. But I've read 2 complete books on this thing and searched and read some other things on here too. And it went from 51 to 39%. And then I charged it. What did I charge it? Last Wednesday, so a week ago. And I've, again, been on it nonstop. It's at 85%. And I probably have it up brighter than most people too. So if you turn it down, it can last up to 10 weeks. The battery is insane.
Robert Dixon asks, how many books can an 8 gig version store?
Depends on the size of the books. The book files are all different, but again, you can hold an infinite amount of number. You don't have to, like, how many books can you read at one time?
Yeah.
So just instead of downloading them to the Kindle, just leave them, when you're done with one, put it back on the cloud or whatever. It's not even a cloud. It's just your Kindle app. Just remove it from the device and just put a new one on there and you can carry it. Realistically, you only need 1 to 2 books on there at any time. The rest of them stay in your library. So there's no need to actually download the books unless you're traveling and you just want to put a book on there, an extra book or something. So you always have access to it as long as you have Wi-Fi. It's when you don't have, like if you're flying on a plane or something, you just need to download it. So you don't need a lot on there.
Yeah, I get that, Windy B. Yep. It's sort of like movies on Netflix or Disney Plus or wherever they take them off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I even use, so I don't have a Kindle itself. I'm thinking about getting one. I just have a Samsung tablet, but I install the Kindle app on my Samsung tablet, and it's the
You
same.
can do it on your phone too.
Yeah,
I
you
have the
can
Kindle
see.
app on this phone. You can do it on the computer, the phone, anything. I mean, anything that you can have access to the internet on, you can pull up the Kindle app on.
I've actually been reading mine from my Kindle on my computer the past two streams. I just
Yep.
pull up my Kindle.
I started on my phone. I've done the computer, and now I'm on the actual Paperwhite.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's better. They're fun though. I like them. Like I said though, they're also waterproof. So I've read it in that chair. I've read it. I take it with me to like work and read at lunch. I've taken it to when I was at Yeehaw Bob's last week. I took it to Bob's and read before Bob's. I've had it in the bath. I've had it outside. I've had it in my bed. I mean, it's just you can take it anywhere.
Yeah. Never read a book on a tablet. Yeah, I have. I
have now. I just finished
done
one.
several on here.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the other thing is too, like there's so many books on here that you wouldn't even think about. Like my library is pretty extensive because I've added all these books, but one of the ones that's on here that's free for you to read. I read a lot of leadership books. And one of them on here is Be Our Guest, Perfecting the Art of Customer Service. I'm not even in customer service, but customer service is part of every business. So I've got that on my list to read just because I want to read it. There was also a really good book. I read a couple good books here. I've got the Walt Disney biography and everything because I used to do audiobooks. Those audiobooks that I bought are also on here. And one of those audiobooks, there's the Walt Disney biography. The other one was called Ghost Wires. It was the Kevin Mitnick book. He was a hacker that got caught and now worked for the FBI and everything. Yeah. That's a good book if you ever read it. It's called Ghost Wires.
Debbie said she has the app on her phone, but the print is too small for my eyes. You could change the font size on that, Debbie. But with a phone screen, it's going to be so small, you're only going to get.
Yeah, but you can change. Yeah, you can change the font size on these though to make it real big. Yeah. Stacy just said, "I can say I prefer reading an actual book because when they hurt way less when a device when you fall asleep and drop them on your face." I don't think I can read like this. I'd be holding your arms up too long. Right. But I understand what you mean. They do hurt if they hit you. So
yeah, they do. So anyway.
I think I can show you what this does. So basically, when I read a book, let's go back to. So the other thing too is they got all these books. So like, you got your nope, that's not even my library. There's my library. My library's at the top, right? Then they go to I can't read these. Continue series that you've started and some other stuff. Then they've got your recommended ones. You can see all the Disney ones there. But then they get down here, like there's Britney Spears' book, and these are most read nonfiction books on Amazon charts. So they give you these charts, and then they have, I don't know what these are. More Like a Whole New World Twisted Tale, More Like Fairest of Them All. Then they go here. Here's more fiction books, and then there's mystery books, and they have them all sorted for you out that thing. You can get Last Chance in Prime Reading, Top Reads in Prime Reading, and you can go just all kinds of new stuff. But when you read a book, so I got to get back to the top of that. So like if I'm reading the Beast book here, okay, I have it set up to this right here. That's what it is. You can change things too. So like right now I have, this is how many minutes it's in the chapter. So it reads based on how fast you turn the pages and it gets kind of an idea. There's 15 minutes left in the chapter. If you tap on that, it'll switch it to how many is left in the book or whatever lock 60 is, location 60, or nothing. Oh, crap.
Change pages.
Or the page number. So I like to put it on how much time I have left in the chapter. But your text, you scroll this down, your text is not there.
Hey, Sam, and welcome in. It's me, David T. Welcome in.
I know where it's at. It's under settings. All settings. Device options. Display settings you can change. Where's the text at, Chris?
No. know. While he's pulling that up, though, this is how I read it on the computer. This is still through the
And that
Kindle
looks exactly like you would see here.
And you could change the font to whatever font you want. You could change the size, all of that. I like a black screen with white writing, so that you can change it to that. You can make it off white.
Yeah, you can do
I
that,
like
or you go white with black writing. Huh.
Yeah, you can make that font huge. You can make it small.
I know you can do it. I got to find it here. Brightness, settings, dark mode, which is what you're talking about. That's not there. Oh, you know what? There it is. So there's all these you got to get used to. See, there's a swipe down menu like that, which we don't need. There's a swipe up menu, which changes things, which we also don't need. There is a tap up here to get your home button thing, and it does thing. But right across there, when you hit that, there's the font. And so there's all your options. So there's a custom, a standard, a compact, large font layout. So if I go large, I mean, that's how big the words got. So you can set it for different things. There's also a font button. Oh, there you go. You can change it from the font. You can change the way the words look. You can change the boldness and the size. So that size right there is only not even halfway as big as it gets. I wonder how big we can make this thing. It's a 6. I mean, if you need it,
there you go.
there you go. So it'll make it really big.
Really big.
So anyhow,
well,
lots of options.
I think we'll call it a night.
Oh, James Patterson's so good.
I want to read a Jack Reacher book. I'm so excited for that next series.
The new one just came out.
Yeah. I've never read one, and I'd like to read one.
How do you mark your spot when you stop reading and didn't finish the chapter? Well, it keeps your page for you, and it keeps you right there. And you can mark in here without ruining the corners of your pages. You can mark in here. You can highlight. You can do whatever you want. Take notes on these, and it just opens up to exactly where you are.
Yep. It gives you like a journal where you can notebook about it. There's a bookmark, and every time I close the app, when I reopen it, it opens at the last page I was on, no matter which device I was on last.
Get rid of this, whatever that was. Delete. So like when you do this, if you hold in something, like say I want to go this passage or whatever, and I underline it like that. Yep. So then you can undo it, you can note it, you can do different things, you can highlight it, you can do whatever you want. When undo it, because I don't want anything highlighted. But you can mark in here, you take notes, and it, like I said, like this is the Beast book right here. So if I was to just tab up here in the home section, and we're gonna go back to the other book, which is this one. It's gonna bring us right to exactly where we just were. The next chapter is called A Pause Before the Dust Storm. So it completely keeps it. Fiction or nonfiction books? Well, fiction. This is fiction. This is the kind of stuff I like right here. But I read both.
I read both. I kind of, for casual reading, I typically tend towards fiction.
Yep.
But I've read a lot of nonfiction about war and stuff and different.
And I read them about leadership and stuff like that. So I mean, it's both. It just depends on what you're into. Wendy, has he read there is literally a new James Patterson. No, not James Patterson. I'm sorry. That's the wrong author. Didn't James Patterson do Zoo?
No, he did. He does that other series that's really popular.
Well, Zoo was got turned into a TV show for a while that I really loved.
What is that series he does?
Yes, I love mysteries and especially the whodunit types and the like escape room stuff. I've got the book, the the escape room book I've got back there.
The Alex Cross books, he does those.
What is it?
Alex Cross is the name of one of his key characters in a lot of his
I don't-
books.
Don't remember that.
I like Stickerdoodle says I love mysteries, especially the whodunit types.
Yep.
While I was in college, I was a big fan of. I read a lot of his books.
Hardy Boys.
An author named Dean Koontz, Koontz. They were like psychological thriller type mystery books. Yeah, they were pretty good.
Nice. I love those. I love the things that you can't figure out till the end.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you guessing. That's why I hope some of these books don't end the way we want them to.
Yeah. So
I have a feeling though they're still going to wrap up all the Disney stuff with a happy ending. We'll see.
So, well, I think we'll call it a night.
Suppose I'll have to go start reading again.
I started with Nancy Drew and moved to Agatha Christie when I was younger. Oh, nice. Weenie B knows Dean Koontz. Whispers is one of the scariest books I've ever read when it came out. That was a good one. I read a bunch of his stuff.
That's one intense.
Oh, some of his stuff is, yeah, it's good stuff. I never thought I would like that type of book, but my cousin clued me into them, and yeah, I got hooked. Read a bunch of his stuff. I'll tell you another one that's really good that I read all of was what was the give me a minute. I got to pull these up because this is going
to. Right guy said nothing beats Danielle Steele by a fire on a cold evening. Oh, I love Ray Guy.
There was
Right guy. I saw you make a comment about book club. This started out as book club, but we were the only ones that were reading the book, so we decided we'd just go on here and read it while people read it together with us.
Yep. This is going to annoy me. I have to find this book now. I'm sorry, y'all.
What is it?
Here's Ted Decker. Ted Decker wrote a series. It's called the Circle Trilogy. Red, White, and Black are the three books in it. That was a good series. I read those. They classify it, I believe, as Christian Christian fiction, but it's really good. So anyway,
my niece reads a lot of David Baldini, and my mom loves Max Lucado.
Oh yeah,
who's a Christian writer. So
I read all of the Left Behind books that were really popular years back.
What are those?
Those are the ones it's a story that's set like after the apocalypse.
Is that like the leftovers from the HBO series?
Yeah, sort of like that. It's
Cool.
what happens with the Book of Revelation. But
I got you. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Wendy, I read those books. They're awesome.
All right. Anything else, buddy?
No. Yes, but no.
The Da Vinci Code. I've seen a couple of the movies, but I've never.
Oh, Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code book. That's incredible. You get the Da Vinci Code. Man, I can't even remember all the names of them. They're incredible, and the movies are so good with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Angels and Demons is the second one, I think, and then I can't remember what the last one was. Something about fire or something like that. Inferno, I think, is what it is. So they're incredible.
Stacy, the girl child, read several of the Percy Jackson books. She liked those. So
For sure, Wendy. When I've got it, I've got that book right here, Wendy. That's one I was reading.
Mhm.
It's actually that I can show you what it looks like if people want to get it. It is
Tony, Phantasmic Chronicles, welcome in.
Oh, I got to connect to the Wi-Fi to get that. But it is Walt Disney, A Life. I can't remember. I can't see what it's called. It's written too small. It's got him on the front of it. So He's right there. It's a good book. Very, very good book. See, these are other things that they automatically put in my library too. So there's a puzzle book, 100 Puzzles and Quizzes. And then there's a kid's book, Fergus the Ferry. His little ferry boat. So they just put random stuff in your library.
Random stuff.
So,
it doesn't make any sense, really. I agree with you on that.
you can remove them, though. You don't have to keep them in there.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody had a good evening. What's this and that doing tomorrow night?
It's that one episode about the time they talked about that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I'm actually titling it the one where they talked about the stuff. So,
Cool.
You know, the Friends episodes always say the one with, or
the one where. Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to call it. The one where they talked about the stuff.
Tina will probably, I'm thinking, maybe be live at 5 tomorrow. I'm not sure, but check out Tina and enjoy S at 8 o'clock before this and that, and then this and that at 9.
She just had a birthday.
She did have a birthday. Yep. Hope everybody has a good night and a good Wednesday. And
Jesus, the right guy.
We'll probably see you back here Thursday night. Maybe after
you guys want a good romance novelist? I know one.
He met one.
I met one. Not no one. I met one. Let me phrase that. If you want a romance author, I know one. I didn't read any of the books. I can't tell you if they're good or not. So,
you're welcome, Mar. Glad you enjoyed it. I hope everybody's enjoying it. I am.
Right, guys. Right, you should just write the book.
Love you all. Hope you have a good night and a good Wednesday. And we'll see you back next time.
Feel it, saying.
Take care. Love you all. Yeah. Bye, doodles. See ya.
Did you say doodle?